Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you, and on behalf of the SITREK Group of companies, I warmly welcome you to the SITREK Cyber and Tech Summit for the year 2026. And as we all know, this summit brings together the core leadership from all walks of life, from the corporate institutions, to engage in extremely timely strategic discussions on cyber and technology resilience. So to formally commence our proceedings this morning, I request you to please rise for the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SITREK Cyber and Tech Summit 2026. The SITREK Group of companies protecting your world. This journey has been a remarkable journey, ladies and gentlemen, a journey that leaves a legacy for the next generation with a vision and a mission that truly changes the way we see things. Let's take a look at our corporate journey.
In 1977, a small security company was formed comprising of 8 security guards. With a clear vision to become a pioneer in security solutions, the business grew in leaps and bounds. Headquartered in Colombo, the company branched out into 4 subsidiaries and grew its presence with an island-wide network of 12 branches and 45 hubs. SITREK is Sri Lanka's market leader in manpower security solutions, home nursing and swift care. secure logistics and cash management, and a leader in electronic security, technology, consultancy, and courier services. Setting the bar as the most dependable and reliable commercial security company in Sri Lanka, we are the security partner of choice for major financial institutions, shopping malls, international hotel chains, diplomatic missions, and many more. We offer the full range of security needs for private and commercial purposes. SITREK provides an integrated approach to security with solutions for residential and commercial applications that are tailored for homes and various building configurations. And in the field of home nursing and swift care, SITREK brings decades of experience to offer temporary and long-term care into homes and offices. The most experienced caregivers follow ongoing training to deliver world-class services and timely attention. With the latest in innovation and procedures, we have built a reputation for ourselves for trust, speed, reliability, and dependability in cash management, secure transport, and last-mile delivery. Our people are our most valuable asset. They are the backbone of our service offerings, consisting of ex-elite forces and officers, as well as experienced professionals. They are further equipped with the knowledge and technical training to take care of all your requirements. And as we continue to move forward, we have branched out into new areas such as education, property rental and buying services, and AC solutions. Leveraging our industry experience and cutting-edge technology assists to provide our clients the confidence in knowing that their world is safe and secure. SITREK Group, protecting your world.
Ladies and gentlemen, SITREK was formed in 1977 by our late chairman, and his vision and mission over the years have made SITREK into a diversified conglomerate employing over 10,000 staff across Sri Lanka. Our former chairman was driven by a very simple yet a very powerful belief, and that is that we must always strive to be the best at what we do and to leave every industry stronger than we found it. So his vision was never just about growth. It was about purpose and leaving meaningful impacts in the journey that we are here for. So today we honor that legacy by embracing innovation, investing into technology, and building partnerships that reflect who we are, which is across security, secure logistics, healthcare, and beyond. So this event is a reflection of that journey, a reminder that SITREK is not just growing a business, but carrying forward a vision as well. So before we begin today's sessions, it is my pleasure to introduce a visionary leader who has played a pivotal role in shaping this event and the growth of the company. As Joint Chairman, Mr. Jeevika Vijayasinghe has been instrumental in driving the company's expansion and strengthening its presence across security, logistics, healthcare, technology, and even education. Under his leadership, SITREK has continuously invested in advanced technologies, which positions the group to support organizations in navigating digital and security-conscious landscapes. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in warmly welcoming our Joint Chairman of SITREK, Ms. Jeevika Vijayasinghe.
Good morning, Secretary to the Ministry of Digital Economy, Mr. Varuna Sri Dharmapala. Thank you, sir, for taking the time to be here. Ladies and gentlemen, I had written a formal speech for me to communicate to you to open the second day. But ironically, yesterday, as we were going through our first session, I got a call from supposedly a current sitting minister. It was a WhatsApp call. I won't mention his name, but his face was on the WhatsApp call. So I obviously assumed it was him. I ran outside and answered the call. The voice and the sound of the person on the other side It's very real. It sounded like the person who was calling me. And we started to have a very real conversation. He knew a lot of details about myself, about our organization. He mentioned that we also contributed to the Rebuild Sri Lanka Fund post Cyclone Ditwa. And he continued to say that they're organizing a book donation for children in affected areas, and whether we would like to make a contribution. So given that we're always willing to help, I obviously accepted, and I said, please sir, can you write a formal letter and send it to me, which he obliged. And about half an hour later, via WhatsApp, I got a very real looking letter that was on a ministry document with a signature. But there was something that was off about it. As I read through, the account details were attached to a personal name, and the ministry letter that he used was incorrect. So we came to the conclusion. Immediately I called a few people that are known to us and mentioned that there is something like this, and he immediately went on to say it's a scam, this has been happening the past few months, please do not transfer any funds. So the reason I'm saying this is, firstly, it's very ironic that I got this call yesterday during a cybersecurity workshop. But what I'm trying to say is there are people out there that are not afraid to disrupt organizations that are very well equipped to gather information to penetrate your business ecosystem. It's real, it's out there. There are people waiting to scam you in whichever way possible, which is why at SITREK we're always looking at ways to evolve and make sure our service offerings reflect our vision and mission, which is to secure physical security, but we're also now moving into, which is a natural extension to our service offerings, cybersecurity. And we're doing this with partnerships with ST Engineering, which we signed a Memorandum of Collaboration yesterday. And we're very happy and honored to have them with us as partners and collaborators, because their skills and expertise are proven. They're one of the best and leading organizations in the cybersecurity space in Singapore. And you'll be learning a lot of their service offerings and products as we go through the day. We also have our booths set up outside. We've also have scouts, a locally made patrol drone. You'll hear more from them later as well, which we have invested into. So as an organization, we're always looking at ways to evolve. And cybersecurity now is something that can't be passed just to your IT teams. It's gone to a point where it has to be addressed at a board level. And doing this will safeguard and bring continuity to all of your organizations. So I trust that you will have a good day. We have some amazing lineup of speakers from ST. They've brought majority of their team here. And I'm sure that you will gain a lot of knowledge, and afterwards there'll be a session and time for you to connect with them one-on-one. So have a blessed day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jivaka, for those words. And just as he rightly said, conversations like this are extremely timely. And I just want to add as well, before we proceed, that we have a brilliant lineup of speakers scheduled for this morning. So we do invite you to please make the best use of this time. And after our session is over, you will have the opportunity to connect with them one-on-one and get all the information and clarifications that you have. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, at SITREK, security has always been about more than manpower. It's about supporting people on the ground with the right tools. So today we are pleased to introduce a solution developed to complement and strengthen SITREK's manpower security operations. Now, this marks an important step in how SITREK continues to evolve its security operations responsibly, progressively, and with our clients' needs right at our core. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me as we officially launch Sidekick.
Hello again. Just to give some context to what you just saw, so our core business being SITREK is our manpower security company. So we're always looking at ways to evolve our service offerings now. As the country moves forward, we need to evolve what we do. With that in mind, we have developed a facility and security management software called Sidekick. So our security officers will be deployed because currently how the ecosystem works is you maintain a day order book, you have a visitor management book, everything is written down, it's tedious, things can get lost. So to make things a bit easier operationally, we have developed Sidekick. It's a facility management software which currently has 3 elements. Your visitor management, your meeting room or venue room booking, your car park management, and incident reporting. So the security officers or your organization, whether you wish to use it without our physical security officers, can use this to make your life easier. The future plans for this are to integrate your access control, your CCTV cameras, your car park barrier gates to this system, so you have full control. So it's something like a mini command center. So you can book your meeting rooms. If you are living in an apartment like I do, if you want to book your event space and pay for it, this will eventually facilitate all of that. So today, officially, I would like to announce that we're formally launching Sidekick. If you want more information, my colleague Priya is outside at our booth. She'll be able to answer any questions of how you would like to, or if you would like to use this and introduce this into your organization. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, with the official launch of Sidekick, things are on to amazing progress as well. It is now my distinct privilege to introduce our guest of honor for this summit, Mr. Varuna Sri Lanka, Secretary to the Ministry of Digital Economy. He is a distinguished special grade officer of the Sri Lanka Administrative Service with over 24 years of experience in national policy, governance, and international diplomacy. Throughout his career, he has held key leadership positions across critical ministries and represented Sri Lanka at the United Nations, where he contributed to the formulation of the Sustainable Development Goals and served as a vice chair of the UN General Assembly's Economic and Finance Committee. Today he leads Sri Lanka's digital transformation agenda at a pivotal time in our nation's technological evolution. Ladies and gentlemen, please warmly welcome our guest speaker for this summit, Mr. Varuna Sri Dhanapala.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the lovely introduction, and thanks for inviting me for this important event. Today actually is the second day, so I knew that this event went well for these 2 days. So Mr. Chiyoku Vijayasinghe, the co-chairman and joint managing director of SITREK, its CEO, and our guest from Singapore, ST Engineering leadership team, all representatives, heads of institutions from the government and private sector entities. Today, as we just heard from Mr. Jivaka himself, the virtual world has a lot of threats. That means somebody can not guess whether it's a threat or not. They are coming as a friendly gesture, they are coming invisible, but there can be solutions as well as proactive measures. So that's where the government of Sri Lanka has invested heavily on digital infrastructure as well as to protect them both physically as well as virtually. The ministry I am attached to is the Ministry of Digital Economy, is the national focal point for transforming Sri Lanka's digital landscape, especially towards making it a means of economic development. It has very different dynamics around digitalization, you name it, R&D dynamics, education dynamics, social dynamics, but here this present government has placed it as highest level for economic growth and sustainability. The cybersecurity landscape is vast. Here the role of the government is unique. We cannot provide all the solutions as the government. What we can do is provide the leadership, provide strategies, policies, and guidelines for all state and non-state stakeholders to contribute properly, promptly, and sustainably to develop trust of all segments of society of these technologies. You must have heard the arguments around providing children with internet facilities for education. When the world is moving ahead, we cannot shut our doors and keep our children away from internet and other connected world. So therefore, it is our duty to make sure the parents, teachers, and all partners of the education system understand this dynamics, what are the pros and cons of using this technology for their advancement socially, economically, culturally, and many other means. Therefore, the Ministry of Digital Economy is headed by none other than the Executive President of Sri Lanka, His Excellency Honorable Kumar Dissanayake, who has provided great leadership along with the Deputy Minister Honorable Ranga Weeraratne and the Senior Advisor, as well as the craftsman of the Digital Economy Blueprint, Dr. Hans Jesurian. If you look at the Digital Economy Blueprint that has been outlined in many occasions, it has the core fundamental areas like inclusivity, trust, as well as strong institutions. Strong institutions should not only be within the government, it should be with the corporate sector as well. So therefore, both the government and non-government sector has a role to play, whereas those newcomers, SMEs, and small players should be equally accommodated in this journey. There's no point of filling a large tank with all valuable liquid if a small hole somewhere in a small corner leads to a leakage. Therefore, we must be very sure that all safeguards, policy-wise, strategy-wise, technology, as well as investment-wise, are ready. Therefore, this event is a timely engagement to all interested groups, tech and non-tech, especially when Sri Lanka is transforming its economy to the next level, heading for $15 billion ecosystem by 2030, as well as direct exports of $5 billion from IT services and other associated digitalization engagements. There are a lot of partnerships with professional organizations and international organizations. Sri Lanka being a part of a UN Convention of Cybercrime, we signed it last October along with 60 other countries. Therefore, we are not alone in this world. We have long way to go, but with ambitious pathways where you can contribute with your knowledge, innovation, as well as esteemed partnership. Therefore, I congratulate SITREK during its decades-long journey, where it has really recognized the need of the hour and evolving, taking the word from Mr. Jivaka himself, the evolution to match with current and future needs. I'm not going to talk about AI. It's a buzzword of the town. So how to avoid deepfake and others, and there are different other tracks if we can talk of. But I would like to mention about the government investment in cybersecurity as well as the personal data protection. In the cybersecurity landscape, as you are aware, we have developed a policy guideline for government organizations on how to protect their digital assets, critical and non-critical, both online and offline, and how to develop its own HR capacity, their investment, how to build partnerships with experts likewise. Again, we are in the second cycle of the cybersecurity strategy after successful implementation of the first cycle with wider stakeholder participation. When we come to the second stage, second cycle, Sri Lanka is now ranked at the level 2 country in the Global Cybersecurity Readiness Index, along with Austria, China, Canada, and some other countries, whereas we were in 80s earlier. That's how the world has recognized us. This recognition itself will place Sri Lanka in a very good position to host digital public infrastructure, not only for the use of Sri Lanka, but to serve the rest of the world by way of data centers, by way of connecting through submarine cables or any other connectivity means. And other than that, especially a capable human resource that can provide solutions for new and emerging challenges of the global ecosystems. Sri Lanka has produced so many IT experts from both government and other entities, those who are champions in many other tracks, the financial sector, R&D sector, production and manufacturing, whereas cybersecurity is another domain that we can champion. Sri Lanka is among one of the first countries that have been enacted the personal data protection legislation. It has come to a stage where we should further strengthen this area and help each other to safeguard the personal data when they are engaging in the digitalization endeavors. Therefore, the trust comes in different phases. It can be in a form of technology assistance, maybe just a simple guidance or a one page in your school textbook where young children or a young boy can teach their parents what to do and what not to do. Therefore, I think this event will be a good platform to exchange ideas, bring in new technologies and products to showcase where the world is heading and what are the gains that Sri Lanka can optimize at this special moment. Again, thanking again for inviting me this special event. I wish this 2 days event will be a great success and networking for future sustainability. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Varuna Sri Dhanapala, Secretary to the Ministry of Digital Economy. I'm sure especially during these current days, you are probably running a very tight schedule, but thank you for taking the time to be here today. Trust is a currency of the digital economy, and our next speaker has spent his career building it. Before I introduce our speaker, ladies and gentlemen, two reminders. On your table, you will have a QR code, and do scan the QR code, which is this, and you can direct your questions to the relevant speakers who will be speaking today, and that way when we do have the Q&A sessions, the questions will be directed to the speaker. So before I introduce our speaker, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at our corporate journey for ST Engineering.
Today's modern world is empowered by AI, autonomous vehicles, cryptography, cloud, blockchain, drones, and more. The myriad of high technological advancements enhances not only the efficiency of mega infrastructures, but also our daily lives. What many do not know is the Achilles heel that destroys the modern world is intangible. It's the dynamic nature of cyber attacks. Here at ST Engineering, we believe keeping the environment cyber safe is key to the modern world's sustainability. We begin with securing your information while working from home without the need to telecommute or be present in the office. Protecting the systems in critical infrastructures. Preventing tanker from cyber threats, causing an oil spill in the ocean that destroy the environmental ecosystem. Autonomous vehicles and airplanes from accidents that threaten our lives. These systems and networks are monitored by our groundbreaking Cybersecurity Operations Center that adopts a preemptive and proactive cybersecurity strategy to provide actionable insights for C-suites and analysts to make informed decisions to combat the cyber attacks. Our extensive cybersecurity capabilities suite is engineered and powered by our deep cybersecurity expertise in operation, training, and research and development. Here at ST Engineering, the key is our people. Together, we secure what matters.
With a decade of experience across defense and cybersecurity, our speaker leads innovation and strategy within ST Engineering's cybersecurity product business. He was instrumental in founding the organization's first SOC Academy and has contributed to national-level security operations initiatives as well. Now, beyond technology, he is a thought leader who believes that cybersecurity must enable growth, confidence, and resilience as well, not just compliance. He has also served as president of the ISC2 Singapore chapter, shaping the cybersecurity profession regionally as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor of welcoming our first speaker this morning, Mr. Victor Yeo, who will share insights on building digital trust, the enabler for a cyber-resilient digital economy.
Good morning, Secretary to the Ministry of Digital Economy, Mr. Waruna Sri Dhanapalan, Chairman of SITREK, Mr. Javaka. Thank you for having me here in Sri Lanka. It is an honor to be here in Sri Lanka today to be speaking with leaders from government agencies and enterprises who are shaping the country's digital future. Countries like Sri Lanka and Singapore share many commonalities. One, we are both island nations, and we are small, but not that small. We are smaller than Sri Lanka, of course, in Singapore. And we have an educated workforce, but we all have big ambition. Sri Lanka is rapidly digitizing. From e-government services and digital identity to online banking, ports, logistics, and smart infrastructure. This digital process is creating tremendous opportunity, not just for businesses, but also for citizens. One element becomes absolutely fundamental to the rapid digitization development, and that is trust. Without trust, citizens hesitate to use digital services. Without trust, businesses delay innovation. Without trust, the digital economy cannot reach its true potential. Yet today, trust is increasingly fragile. As Mr. Javaka highlighted, there will be scammers who are trying to get into your systems or your enterprise and to compromise your company. Today, with the increasing fragility of maintaining safe networks and with the expanding attack surface across the region, we are seeing ransomware shutting down public services, cloud breaches exposing sensitive data, identity compromises becoming attackers' favorite entry point. Over the past years, we have seen government agencies around the world disrupted by ransomware, critical infrastructure, targeted by sophisticated threat actors, enterprises hit by supply chain. And cybersecurity is no longer an issue, an IT issue, it is a national resilience issue, an economic competitiveness issue, and a citizen trust issue. Cybersecurity thus is an essential capability to enable trust, and yet it is a constant battle even in Singapore. Today, I'd like to share three things. The key challenges we see government and enterprises facing today, a practical approach to building cyber resilience in a fast-changing environment with AI and quantum, and how ST Engineering can possibly partner Sri Lanka to address these challenges in a concrete and sustainable way. Let me start off with the landscape. One, ransomware and destructive attacks continues. Attackers no longer are just stealing data, they are encrypting, disrupting, and sometimes destroying systems. Public services, hospital, utility, enterprises are attractive targets because an outage creates immediate impact, and as such, a pressure to pay. Two, cloud. With huge movement into cloud services, while it is convenient, easy, but it is at the same time vulnerable. With simple misconfiguration, it can create opportunity that leads to breaches. 3, OT and IT conversion. The line between IT and operating systems of your public utility and infrastructures are getting gray due to the integrations of networks and informations that need to manage and control this sophisticated system. As such, protections get complex, and there is a focus on looking at how do we protect OT system. Identity is the new parameter for security. It has become the entry point for a lot of attackers in compromising enterprises. Not just about your network, not just targeting your entry at the network services, but individuals like you and me who are holding on computers that is connecting to a larger enterprise. And sometimes it may not be you, it may be your children who are sharing the network, or your third-party supplier. Lastly, attackers also exploit complexity faster than defender can respond. They have access to the same technology that you and I have. They also have access to resource. Going beyond that, AI adaptation in enterprises are on a growth trajectory. Company gets to do more with less. Yet, in the hand of the attacker, the same vulnerability can be exploited faster because attacker uses AI to develop, exploit, using way lesser resources and time, and faster. Its intensity and reach of attacks are further accelerated by these advances. One example for kiddie pen testers and hackers like myself, we will buy tools and we can create. We have learned how to develop exploit. And here is a website providing services to help you now even not to have to do the script yourself, but tell them what you want the script to do, and the AI will generate the script for you to be employed for your own use. This again is a two-edged sword. For the pen tester, it is speed and convenient. For the attacker, they have the same expertise. These capabilities are not just for typical citizens like ourselves, like country and nation-state criminals. They are investing resources in AI and making use of AI to generate attacks onto enterprises or even strategic operations. Beside AI, the impending advancement in quantum computing will render today's encryption useless in the next couple of years. The cryptography we are using today to secure our communications and transactions can be broken in seconds, or will be broken in seconds with quantum computer. Hackers are already adopting a harvest now, decrypt later approach, whereby data are stored in anticipation of access to quantum computing and decrypting it for information. If data leak and cannot be managed, the trust that we needed for our digital economy will be greatly undermined. Citibank published a report recently, and he highlighted that quantum threat will be a $1 trillion security race. And he mentions that as early as 2027, there will be useful quantum computer that is developed, and this will grow rapidly into 2030, 35, and 40. The other aspects that they are highlighting is that it could have an impact of economic impact of 2 to 5 million easily, and recommended that enterprises to start considering and looking at post-quantum cryptography as a solution to start to protect their data today. With all this complexity, when we talk to government agencies and enterprises in the region, 3 common questions come up. How do we gain end-to-end visibility of our risks? How do we respond fast enough given limited people and time? And how do we secure our cloud and identity without creating frictions for users? And of course, the very common question, can it be cost-effective and affordable? Well, these are questions. The core issue, actually, if you look carefully, is that there are just too many surfaces and too many tools. We are dealing with complexity. At ST Engineering, our philosophy is shaped by our experiences in securing critical infrastructure, government systems, and large enterprises in Singapore and internationally. We wrote the technology changes and its impacts over the past years. We learned both from our experience and also understood that a compliant approach can be costly and sometimes may not be effective in managing cybersecurity risks. We realize some fundamentals do not change and remain even with technology changes. And we propose that we should assume breach and design for resilience. As no system is 100% secure, the real question is, can you govern? And if you can't identify and protect, and then you can't detect, respond, and recover. This requires a risk management strategy, not a compliance strategy. With the fundamental in place, then you can govern and mitigate your risks. Next. Many organizations over the past years have accumulated security tools over the years using a compliant mindset. A tools for endpoint, MDR, EDR, antivirus. Another for network. Another for cloud. Another for identity. And many different dashboards that you are looking at in order to enforce your security and govern your enterprises. The result is integration nightmare, alert fatigues, and gaps. We believe the future lies in integrated platform that matches your risk management strategy, bringing together data from multiple sources, correlate signal intelligence, and guide your team with actionable insight. And to do this, you need a trusted partner that will look at your enterprise as a whole and help you plan the journey and plan the risk management strategy. As workload shift to the cloud and user connect from anywhere, this new security parameter, like I mentioned earlier, is not your enterprise network, but your identity of your employees who are accessing these informations from everywhere. The Zero Trust architecture framework has been conversations in the cybersecurity landscape, and implementing it is core and essential. We must strongly authenticate user, continuously verify trust before gaining access, and reduce reliance on password and static credentials that can be stolen and phished. Next. Despite the complexity, one thing that cannot be missed out is that technology alone is not enough. For government and enterprises, especially in a fast-changing digital economy like Sri Lanka, sustainable cyber resilience also requires local skills and knowledge, processes and playbook that can be shared for incident response, and continuous training for joint exercise. Our role is not to deploy product, but to transfer knowledge, build capacity, and become long-term partner with Sri Lanka. SD Engineering, with our 800 employees, have been in the industry for over 25 years. We have been leading implementations for our governments, defense, critical infrastructure, and enterprise. And like I said, cybersecurity is not about just technology, it's about the strategy. And for the strategy to work, you need the experience and the lessons learned from multiple agencies. And this engagement can help us to innovate, adjust to meet the challenges of the time. also are into all the critical infrastructure in helping to look at the OT-IT conversion of their solutions and help to monitor their security and infrastructure. Uniquely, we are a company that have both services, system integration capability, as well as core engineering capability in designing and building products that we think we could not find in the market. The whole spectrum have now even evolved into looking at how to secure AI and AI utilization. Our cybersecurity chief in Singapore always reminds us that cybersecurity is a team sport, and he calls for all parties to come together. And like Secretary mentioned earlier, it requires cooperation not only at the government level, it is also cooperations at the enterprise level. At the government level, we will have national cybersecurity strategy, we will have national SOC for strategic monitoring, we will have sectoral SOC for critical infrastructure monitoring, and then there will be regulatory and guidelines to guide you in implementing some of your system. These are for like PDPA, HIPAA, ISO, PCI, and in Singapore, we also have for enterprises what we call a cyber trust mark, whereby we help to access, audit, and benchmark your cybersecurity posture in different levels and to guide you in your journey in building your cybersecurity capability. For enterprises, it is a bottom-up effort regardless of the regulation. Like I said, compliance alone is not the solution. We have to acknowledge that this is about risk management. We have to acknowledge that being cyber safe is pro-business and important for your reputations and your services and your economy. So we have to keep building on security by design, sticking to fundamental rather than chasing compliance, and balance risk, cost, and performance. And of it is to find a way that you can sustain this capability within your resource, your talent appropriately. And this requires a risk management strategy. Like I highlighted earlier, cost has always been a concern, right? Because we don't see cybersecurity investment as a revenue generation's capability. Instead, it is seen as a cost. However, in order to look at how to manage this cost better, we recommend that enterprises start looking at going back to the fundamental and to be focusing on the protect first strategy. Because by containing your attack surface, your other investment in terms of monitoring, audit, response, and incidents can be drastically reduced. Exhibiting outside today, this is an innovations that we have not found solutions in the market to have. And we believe that a hardware security dongle to connect work from anywhere with a peace of mind and ensure secure connection into enterprise can be the way to bring down your attack surface and improve your security management. Let me show you an example. I think 2 years ago in 2024, there is an incident whereby a German minister that is participating in our air show, while he is connecting to the internet, his information was intercepted and collected by the Russian, and the data was subsequently leaked. And what he did was simple. His endpoint that he's trying to connect to the internet, he forgot to go on board on a secure trusted line. He connect to the Wi-Fi over untrusted network, and then he get through the public internet. As soon as he is connected, his endpoint is visible to people within the network in the hotel. He's able to look at what systems he's running. Exploiter then look for exploit or do a man-in-the-middle attack to tap on the informations and to decrypt the informations. While software VPN is constantly being used, unfortunately it sits on top of the operating system, and sometimes attacks goes after the kernel level before the operating systems kick in. So sophisticated attackers are looking at every avenue to attack. What we try to do with the vSnipe is to make sure that the endpoint is protected while connected to the network. It's an independent device with a very minimal firmware that ensures that every time we start the device, they only do one thing and it can't be changed. Second, it connects up to your VPN or secure encrypted tunnel, depending on what you're doing. In Singapore, or what we are promoting now, is to make sure that we have PQC encryptions for you to connect through this PQC-based VPN tunnel back into your enterprise. And when you do that, even in the public network, the attacker is only seeing this dongle and not on your computer. And there isn't much surface on the dongle for you to attack. And as such, as you connect onto the, even connecting through a road Wi-Fi, your data is already encrypted before he leaves your computer. And as such, a bit more security than your enterprise. This is not a comprehensive solution. It requires a strategy to implement this for most enterprises. Which is why today, together with SITREK, we are bringing vSnipe and ITER into Sri Lanka to help small, medium enterprise in securing their network. So do talk to us later at the booth to find out how we can work this. My colleague will present more information on ITER later. In conclusion, we are here to partner Sri Lanka. We want to build a trust partnership with the Sri Lanka industry, as such our partnership with SITREK, and to bring our experience in securing critical infrastructure and enterprises to Sri Lanka. And we would like to collaborate extensively with local partners and university to build talents as well as knowledge. Like I said, we have gone through this journey for 25 years, and we are constantly evolving, we are constantly innovating because of the customers that we are engaging and the partnership that we have. And the more that we learn, the fastest we are evolving in designing our solution for the future. With that, I thank you for your attention, and I'm happy to take on any question if there is. So while the Slido questions is coming on board, I think one of the common question is, how by reducing attack surface can help with your complexity? And I just have this discussion with a customer here in Sri Lanka yesterday, and I said, one options, if you were to look at a typical device, and if you look at every device and you allow all your existing computer to connect to any Wi-Fi, what you will get in your SOC will be alerts. He's connecting to Wi-Fi, he's accessing to this IP address. This IP address could be compromised. His computer is not in compliance. He has not updated his patch, so and so and so. And this will be all alerts that your SOC analyst or your security analyst will have to respond and investigate. And these are all workloads. If you were to turn it around and says that if you can only connect it through a secure tunneling into your VPN, into your enterprise, and every information is going through your security operation gateway, all the possible attacks are first and foremost prevented by your security operation gateway, preventing you from connecting to vulnerable IP addresses, preventing compromised information for coming into the system. You will have way lesser trigger and way lesser attack alerts to deal with. And in such, it now focuses on what's happening internally rather than unintentional connections and activities that is compromising your enterprise circuit. So that's one possible way to think through.
Our first question is, what are the strategies followed by ST engineering to overcome the challenge of too many tools and interfaces?
I think this is the challenge that most of us, when we are either at CISO looking at vendors coming to you, selling you the threats and telling you that you need this layer of protections at every level. But like I said, in SD engineering, our approach to your partner is don't tell me the technology that you want us to build, that you want us to system integrate and build for you. Tell us what's your risk management strategy. If you don't have that, then talk to us so that we can help you identify your risk management strategy. And then with that, then we can do the selections of tools. Some tools will still be with third-party vendors, but there are tools that we can optimize and make it lesser and more easier to monitor. One example is our employment of AI technology. Our agentic SOC helps to bring across different tools into a unified monitoring capability and make it easier for our security operations center analysts to understand the threat better and faster.
What strategies should organizations adopt to defend against AI-generated malware?
The strategy is the same. Stick to foundation. So there will be malware that will be generated. The typical process of identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover is the same. So don't be overwhelmed by new technology. The approach is the same. New malware that is coming out by attackers, share information, build on your threat intelligence as much as possible. Put it in place in the enterprise systems that you can identify them at the earliest possible. If you can get into your gateway, or get through your gateway and into your devices, then look for abnormal activity. The same solutions that you're currently implementing can address these challenges. Just that the intensity will be more. As such, the suggestion to do the protect first strategy and to reduce the attack surface. That will make it easier. Otherwise, you'll end up with information overload and you'll be swamped with all these challenges that you need to investigate.
Do we have any questions that you might want to ask directly? We have a mic. Anyone from the audience?
I'm happy to answer any question. If I don't have the answer, my expert colleague sitting with me over there will help to answer.
If not, we could continue with some of the questions that have come in. All right. What are the possible workarounds and security controls that can be implemented to protect legacy systems that are difficult to replace or upgrade?
I think, again, we are shifting to a very technical question. And fundamentally, it is a process question. The process question has to be, first, understand your assets and understand the risk that you are mitigating. And with that, together with your resource and talent, formulate a strategy that is sustainable, that you'll be able to manage. Some aspects of it, some strategy can be as simple as, okay, my key assets are our board member who are holding on to highly important data, or our healthcare provider who are holding on to PDPA data. And for this certain group, you can provide them a solutions. And for the rest of the user, we could also provide them, we can then take on some risk and subscribe to some other cloud services and outsource this risk to them. Okay, I would like to introduce Eng Chun. Eng Chun is the president of our company.
Hi, so I think the question is a very important question, legacy system. So if you are operating in government, defense, and even like industry, where you identify as critical information infrastructure, there are, throughout the entire architecture, there's always legacy system. So what we do, which is what we do best, you look at the word, our company, ST Engineering, so we are very strong in engineering. So I'll give you an example. When we started working with the utility land, our transportation and all this, we are actually quite shocked. There are also a lot of legacy systems. Some of the computers are using even XP. You know, totally Microsoft doesn't support the OS anymore. So what we did is, and there are also equipment like that do not have a digital output. So how do you monitor cybersecurity without digital output? So actually what we did is, if you go down the Purdue model, we go down to level 0. So we built sensors that tap, for example, electrical property, the signal, the noise, and then from there integrate with the other digital signal and then build a layer of cybersecurity detection capability on top of it. That's how we deal with it. You have to do some work on that part. It is very difficult to get the operators to say, let's swap out the old technology and then go to the new technology. What if it breaks? They take many years to stabilize their operation. So it's something that we do not encourage. That just walk in there and say, no, don't change out the old technology. We'll keep it, and then we'll integrate with capability that doesn't interfere with the operation. Just tap and get the correct signal, whether it's electrical signal, pressure, pump, temperature. You can do that, and then together integrate with the other digital signal, and then overlay the cybersecurity detection capability. So I hope that answers the question. I mean, if there's any other question on this, let me know.
Okay, I think with that, we ran out of the Q&A time. Thank you, and if you have any further questions, please look for us at the booth later, and we are happy to engage and answer to whatever other queries that you might have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Victor Yeo, for that session. All right, our next speaker represents the future of Sri Lankan innovation in robotics and artificial intelligence. Now, Scouts is a homegrown startup, ladies and gentlemen, but before that, let's take a look at their corporate. So that is a little bit about Scouts, but a little bit from my end to introduce our speaker is, as I rightly mentioned, Scouts is a homegrown startup pushing the boundaries of autonomous technology, delivering fully automated drone solutions in partnership with SITREK Security Solutions, from enterprise-grade security deployments to supporting Colombo Police in emergency response and contributing to environmental conservation efforts. Scouts is transforming how technology enhances safety and operational efficiency. So I have the honor of inviting on stage to talk more on this product, and that is the co-founder and CEO of Scouts, that is Mr. Kalana Muthumuni, to take you through the presentation.
Hello, very good morning to all of you. My name is Kalana, and how do you protect your properties today? You might have a guard patrolling your estate. You might have CCTV cameras and motion detectors that are usually monitored by a security team. And you might even have AI solutions detecting threats real time. So in essence, you have a guard, CCTV and motion detectors, and AI for real-time alerts. What if we put all three of these in one? Introducing Scouts, automated drones for security patrolling. With Scouts, we have three main functionalities that we are providing with this drone. One is automated patrolling. We also have thermal and night vision. And inbuilt AI that is proprietary for Scouts that will detect threats for you. When it comes to our automated patrolling function, the main differentiation here is that you don't need to train a pilot or anybody who's guiding the drone through the perimeter. We set up the patrolling routes and it will automatically do the patrol every 15 to 30 minutes. Right now, if you are doing patrolling of your estates, it's usually every several hours, maybe every 3 hours, every 4 hours. We can easily cut that down dramatically with our automated patrolling. We also have fitted thermal and infrared cameras that will allow you to see threats that the human eye can easily miss. This increases the security monitoring drastically, even in the night. We also have our proprietary AI technology that can identify open gates, fires, and unauthorized access and alert the security team on premise immediately. With our solution, we can turn your CCTV infrastructure, which sometimes is looked at as a passive security, where you go look at what happened in retrospect. But instead of that, we can turn these CCTVs into an active solution by using them as triggers and sending the drone to that particular location very fast to identify whether this is a false positive or an actual incident that is taking place right now. We can easily double the patrolling frequency. We can initiate a response in under 30 seconds, and our solution is available 24/7. This is a sneak peek of what the interface would look like for the security guard. At a click, you can send the drone in a preset route, make it stop, look around, and return home as well. It's very easy to use, and it'll sit side by side with your existing CCTV camera setup. We have a range of features that we are releasing with our product, and one of the interesting use cases that will come up next is aerial inspection. If it's a solar farm, a wind farm, or an infrastructure that needs to be inspected for structural damages, the drone can do it effectively, efficiently, and fast. We also have 2 other versions of drones that are in development. One is a helium-powered drone that will be used for environmental conservation. And we also have a fixed-wing VTOL, which has an extended range that will be used for coastal patrolling. We have some amazing partners that have joined us in our journey, including SITREK, and we also have a research partnership with University of Moritua, and we have a few other clients that have signed up already, including Fairway and CCR. And if any of you are interested, we have limited availability for rollout this year, so please talk to us at our stall outside. Apart from security patrolling, we are also exploring use cases for public safety and early warning system for elephant railway collisions. We are a homegrown startup that is bringing you cost-effective, we are a local startup that is bringing you world-class protection at a fraction of the cost. So if any of you are interested in testing out our product, please talk to us outside, and thank you very much.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was definitely an insightful and something that you might want to consider. So right outside we have an amazing range of stalls and booths for you. So please, we will now head into a short 10-minute break. During this time, tea and coffee will be served outside. However, while you are sipping on your tea and coffee, please make that time to please visit these stalls, and the relevant teams will be there to have one-to-one chats with you as well. So we will meet in exactly 10 minutes from now. Our next session challenges how we think about AI not as tools, but as coordinated systems. With more than 2 decades of experience in AI and data science, our speaker has worked extensively with the European Commission, the European Parliament, and global security institutions. Today, he leads AI innovation for cybersecurity at ST Engineering, driving the development of agentic AI systems that redefine how security operations are executed. His work spans defense, cybersecurity, finance, healthcare, and national security as well, all through one core principle, that is coordination over automation. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the privilege of inviting on stage Dr. Ivan Jacobs, presenting AI for Security.
Hello. Thanks for coming, and thanks for coming back to listen to me. So, as it was mentioned, I'm leading the AI lab in ST Engineering, where we are building different cybersecurity solutions driven by artificial intelligence and mostly by agentic AI. And today I would like to share some of our experiences that might help you in your journey in building agentic solutions. So I would like to talk about the country Singapore. Me as a foreigner coming into Singapore, I have always been very interested by how did Singapore become such a big economical power in such short time. So if you see 1960, the picture, and what it is today. And so I would like us to reflect on how they leveraged on innovation in order to create economical power, and maybe learn some lessons out of this. So before 1960, moving something abroad was very difficult. All of the crates or all of the containers were actually built of wood, and they would all have different sizes. So it would be very difficult to load and unload them. It would take days, and they will stay idle at different places. Then it will be very difficult to move from different types of transport, like train, ship, and truck. And additionally, we needed to renegotiate the contract at every movement. So if you come from ship and you need to then go to train, you need to renegotiate a new contract. You never knew how much it would cost. And all of this made this whole thing unreliable and very expensive, because you cannot trust that your good will reach somewhere. And all of the industry was mainly local, so you couldn't actually build some things abroad and then have them shipped to you at some particular time when you actually need it. So the storage and the building was always close to the market. So it was very, very challenging to do something. Then 1960 came the container. There was a push to standardize things. So a container would have a size and a shape that's always the same. And around this, we started building ships, and we started building ports that are capable of actually loading and unloading containers very fast. So we went from days and weeks of loading and unloading things to just a couple of hours. So this improved the way we were doing things, and the speed of how we were doing things. And so I would like us to, the audience maybe, to think a bit of, would that have been the only thing that changed the economy? Would that have been the only thing that drove that economical power that made Singapore such a big country to so I now would argue that it's not. So one thing that Singapore did is to capitalize on that shift, and to start build big ports where the loading and unloading was very fast and very programmatic. And so they were able to handle bigger ships, they were able to handle more cargo, and by this they became a very attractive place in the trading. But this considers that the port is the end point, right? This says that we are very fast in getting your goods in, but the idea is that these goods will stay here. If you draw the parallel to AI, we can now also automate and make some human tasks very fast. So for example, reading a book or consuming some data and then getting some insights out of it can now be done in days, in seconds, what a human will be doing in days or maybe months. Learning a new task, some of you are familiar with prompt engineering, you can now teach the model just by describing some new tasks in a text format, and that model is capable of immediately doing it, which humans are actually not able of doing. So this is kind of the parallel with the port, where we can now unload and load a lot of containers very fast, and the task optimization and the task improvement driven by AI is the analog to that. But that's not what the revolution is. So automation is not the revolution. Speed was never the problem. If you think about the containers, it was the unreliability that was the problem. So you couldn't trust that your goods will reach there in time. You couldn't make an estimation of how long it will take to do something, or how much it will cost you to achieve something. So, and as I said earlier, if containerization was the only thing that would improve the things, then the evolution will stop at the port. You're considering that all the goods that are flowing through that system are actually meant to stop here, and you're just very fast in consuming them. And so I want to introduce the term coordination, which is the ability to align different players to work in harmony towards a common goal. So you create a system where everything is working together and it's reliable. So that's a very important term. By the way, the time is not running. Just to... So this is what Singapore actually did. This is the true power of AI, and how Singapore achieved this economical growth is that they actually integrated, for example, road, rail, and air. So when you would ship into Singapore, you could immediately move your goods through some of the other ways of moving. They also integrated customs. So the whole system was working together to help you flow through this and export to other points. So essentially, it became a system coordinator, Singapore, and it became an international hub of trading. And so this is the main power of how Singapore addressed this, and how they extracted all of this economical growth out of this revolution of containerization. And this is what the main power of artificial intelligence is. Not so much automating individual tasks, but bringing different systems or different components together and make them work as a whole. So the coordination crisis, which most of you are familiar with, all of us deal with different types of data that you can see here, coming from different sources. with different volumes and different speeds, and they're consumed by tooling, by databases, and we need to then execute some business workflow where we are using this data, making decisions, collaborating with our colleagues, and eventually we need to produce something on the end of that business workflow. But this breaks in many places, and eventually the whole system collapses. Also, humans are very noisy, and by noisy I mean their decision is almost never the same. If you ask the same question to a person different days, they might answer exactly a different thing than what they told you 2 days ago. So the whole system eventually is performing in a noisy way, or is completely collapsing and is not capable of delivering what we are wishing to see. And what we want to build is actually a unified, centralized brain that is overseeing and merging all the data and fetching data at relative points of time, and helping the humans together with AI agents to actually finalize the concrete workflow, business workflow that we are executing. And we also want that system to continuously learn from that experience. So this is what we don't want, and we want to move towards this. And this is what we have been working on at ST Engineering, where we have a model that we call orchestrator or a planner that will receive some high-level objective, and based on that objective, the model will be looking into different tools and skills. So tool and skill is anything that a human is using today in their daily work. Microsoft, Excel, if you think about security, SIM, SOAR, and these tools are actually available to the agents, and they can use them the same way that humans can use them. But before giving this to the agent, we actually are creating a plan, and in that plan we are figuring out, or the orchestrator agent is figuring out, how every step is related to every future step. What comes out of a step, and how is one step dependent on another step. So what are the requirements for a particular step to be able to finalize, and what are the requirements for a step to be judged as being finalized. So after this planning is done, within that planning we use what we call a work model, where the model is actually trying to predict different possible outputs of every step and every tool call. So to every step we assign a particular tools that are relative to that step. Once this is done, then the centralized brain will actually go ahead and distribute this to different agents. So it will organize the work, and it will send the particular work to particular agents with those phases and steps and those subtasks and those objectives that every step needs to achieve. And then the agent will start executing this. While they're executing the subtasks using those tooling, everything is saved to a centralized brain, and the agent have the capability to actually call the humans for their feedback. So this is what we see here. So on every arrow up, the agents can ask a human to come in and give some validation or some feedback, and then we are consuming that information, and then the whole workflow continues until we finalize all the steps and all the phases. We then take all of this feedback that we are getting, and also the final success or not of the whole workflow, and we evolve the system as it's being used. So what we have is, in the lab, we will essentially create different agents that are acting as humans. So in cybersecurity, we will have red team agents that will attack a particular system, and then we have blue team agents that will defend a particular system. So while they're in the lab, they will learn from that experience, from interacting or competing with each other. And once we deploy it at the customer side, they continue to evolve and learn through that human feedback. So through this process that I described here. So essentially the system is continuously adapting to the KPIs and the feedback that the humans are giving. And the first product that we released based on this approach is Agentic AI Security Operations Center. So ST Engineering is, this is also part of a global framework. So we don't only do security, AI for security, we also do security for AI. So our models are also checked for any vulnerabilities, and we are also constantly checking the input and output of those models in order to make sure that they are not jailbreaked. So this is part of a bigger ecosystem. We also have the cyber wargaming that I just explained, and we also use that cyber wargaming additionally to train humans. So where we have the red teaming and the blue teaming, but that's actually to train the human operators. And within that realm, we create, sell and manage security operation centers for the last 14 years, and we have 22 security operation centers have been deployed. And that's Agentic AI Security Operations Center that I was just talking about. We just released and deployed to the energy sector in Singapore. So again, going back to the previous slides, these are some of the challenges that the humans will face, right? They have a lot of alerts. They need to consume data that is difficult to consume for them, different formats. They are under a lot of stress, and actually the systems that they are monitoring will generate a lot of false positives. So they need to be able to take the correct decision under stress. When they are tired, they work under shifts, so they do 24/7, and they are struggling to provide good recommendation because sometimes they don't have the knowledge, so they need to figure out where to get that information from. And for example, it's very demanding. They need to understand the cybersecurity part, but they also need to write incident reports, which is requiring other set of skills from them. So it's a very challenging task, and very challenging to be good constantly. And perform with a good standard of quality. So our key differentiators. As I was saying earlier, our models, our agents, they learn from competition, so we don't require data. We are not constantly gathering data from our customers or asking for data or gathering data from open source data sources. We are actually training the models through that competition where one team is attacking, another team is defending. So our planner or our orchestrator, as I was explaining earlier, is constantly evolving. So it is not a playbook, it's not hard-coded. So based on the context that this orchestrator is gaining, he's creating plans and steps and assigning different tools. And we have that human in the loop and human on the loop integration where we are constantly gathering data from the humans in order to evolve the system. So what we have done is we consider everything, as I said earlier, as a tool. All the software and the databases that a human is using in a security operations center becomes an agentic tool to us, and it is plugged into the system, and the orchestrator can choose at which step to use them. The agents are actually capable of autonomous incident response and recommendation. and they can do correlation, they can extend the data, they can get information from other tools to build a bigger picture, and they can consume that bigger picture. They can generate detection rules, and they can also generate incident reports. So when an investigation is done, they will actually generate the incident report, and that's automatically also injected in a ticketing system. So this is how a typical security operations center works. There is an alert, and based on this alert, there is some playbook. If there's no playbook, then the human needs to do the triaging and needs to go through the data and understand what happens. If there is a playbook that is hard-coded, then that playbook is executed. Now, if this playbook fails or it doesn't perform well, it never changes. It stays continuously the same. So this is one of the biggest problems. What we do, as I was explaining earlier, there are alerts. Then the orchestrator agent, based on the information from the alerts, will design a plan how to investigate. The agents who do the investigation, they will get the relative information, they will do the correlation, they will finally say, we think that it's a false positive or a true positive. They will write the incident report, and the human needs to come in and take a decision. So the human is the final decision maker. During that decision, the human can actually talk to the agents and ask why particular decision was taken, where is this information coming from, and the agents can argue and defend their decision making, and that's actually make it understandable to the human. And again, through those conversations and through that feedback, through that validation or decline, the system continues to learn. And as I was saying earlier, the planner will actually look at all the tooling that is available, and for every step it will assign a particular tool, and for every tool and every step it will figure out what are the possible outputs of these steps in order to properly chain them together. So what are the benefits? First is the speed. As I was saying earlier, an investigation is done by a human in 70 minutes. We do it in 30 seconds. So our time to identify goes from 15 minutes to 4 seconds, and mean time to respond 55 minutes to 26 seconds. So of course this is great, but as I was saying earlier, that's not the only thing that we need to be looking at. And the reliability is also very important. So coverage, we investigate all the alerts. If a security operations center has 2,000 alerts per day, in a normal life, only the high level, the highest severity alerts will be investigated. We actually investigated everything. Accountability, everything is stored. We can understand why a particular decision is taken. We can see the conversations. And consistency, the most important. Everything is done at the same level of quality. So it's not because the human is tired or had an argument with his wife that the level of quality of investigation will drop down. So the system is reliable. So that's all, and I'm open for questions. Okay. So first question: how can organizations ensure that their AI-based security systems are not manipulated or attacked by adversarial AI techniques? So in our use case, as I was explaining earlier, we do have a solution that is built in-house that will look at that. Additionally, we don't expose our model as an API to an external, to the world actually. So within our solution, there is no way of doing adversarial AI attack on our model. So you cannot continuously query our model and try to understand how it will react and then train another model out of it. So given that our solutions are mostly deployed at air-gapped environment and they're tightly integrated with the rest of the system, and as I said, we have that security for AI layer around it, that's not possible. Yeah, so next question.
What safeguards or guardrails should be implemented to ensure safe use of AI in cybersecurity?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and there's another question just before, can AI agents get hacked? So this is a very hot topic at the moment. There isn't a standard yet of how exactly to do this. The best way you can do is to managing the action space. What I was explaining about the orchestrator agent getting particular tools and executing them, that is the action space. This is the things that agents can do. So if you correctly manage this and you correctly manage the type of data that the agent can actually go and fetch, then you can kind of limit that space. There are solutions out there that can project that space into the latent space, and then you can bound that latent space in order to not let the agents get out of that particular action space. But it's a very hot topic, and I don't have an answer to this today. Yeah.
Do you think AI will eventually replace SOC analysts, or will it mainly support them?
Okay, the human will not be replaced. The task description will be rewritten. This is what we did. So we didn't say we are replacing the humans. We don't say we fire all our security operations center analysts. What we actually said is today what the analyst will do is a different task description. And it is elevating the human, not replacing the human. And one of the key elements of our system is that human in the loop, that human AI collaboration. It is true that a lot of the tasks will be done by the agents, but this is mostly to liberate the human to do more sophisticated things and things that are that require in-depth knowledge.
How to make sure that the confidential data of internal organizations is not being leaked outside, assuming that models and agents need continuous outside access?
Yeah, I don't have an answer to that. That's very difficult. It goes back to what I was mentioning earlier. You need to manage the action space, you need to manage the data that can be accessed, and then you also need to manage the data that is being produced by the agents. As I said earlier, we do have a solution that has this, that has a wrapper around the input and the output of the models, but those solutions are not 100% sure. There always will be some potential risk to the way it is happening, because you are giving an agent the possibility to, for example, write queries to your database, and that data is then shown to a user. And if you are able to trick the agent to do that, then the data will be leaked, of course.
Do we have any questions that you might directly want to ask from the audience? We can pass around a mic. All right. What are your thoughts on using agentic AI in production systems? AI systems work on...
Okay, so that's a good question. So AI system work on probabilistic output, so it is safe to use in the production. So that's a bit of misconception out there. The AI models are deterministic. So prediction of a transformer model is purely deterministic. probabilistic output is the way we sample those outputs. So meaning, at 2 words, a transformer model will give you a probability of what the 3rd word will be. Usually, and that's where they're deterministic, we take the next word with the highest probability. But a lot of the sampling techniques today are actually seeking to make them probabilistic in order to produce different outputs. And through that sampling, they decide, I will sample from the probability distribution from the next word, some word. And that's where they become probabilistic. But if you use them the way they are built to be used, they are deterministic. And in our deployments, we use them purely to be a deterministic probability token predictor. Yeah.
Okay. Can we know the average resource consumptions and implementation methods of the agents and LLM?
And okay, can we know the average? So okay, if I understand it correctly, you mean the GPU requirements. So our solution is using 2 GPU servers with 800 each or 8 200 each. The implementation methods. Okay. The way we implement our agents, we are not using any of the open source frameworks out there like LangGraph or LangChain. We have written that framework ourselves. We use Llama 4, which is a multi-model model, and the way we create our agentic workflows is with Pydantic AI. So it's a Python library that permits you to manage tools and write agents and actually write a sequence of steps that the agent needs to do. Additionally to the Llama 4, we are using graph neural networks. For those that are familiar, we are using heterogeneous graph neural networks in order to create that action space and to actually learn those models to predict the correct tools for particular task given a particular state. So that combination is how we have built our agents. I will be happy to talk further with that person at the booth to explain in depth.
Thank you, Mr. Jacobs. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have any more questions that you might want to directly ask him, please feel free to do so after our sessions conclude. Our next speaker brings extensive global experience in enterprise artificial intelligence and digital transformation. Shivang Agarwal is the Vice President and co-founder of Dragonfruit AI, where he leads advanced AI deployments across government, banking and retail sectors. His work focuses on building scalable, production-ready systems that strengthen risk management, compliance, and operational intelligence. Headquartered in California, Dragonfruit AI delivers powerful enterprise solutions in video analytics, digital investigations, and retail intelligence, enabling organizations to transform complex data into actionable real-time insights. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Shivang Agarwal.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for inviting me here for this amazing gathering. So, Dragonfruit AI is recognized as one of the top computer vision platforms in conjunction with Adobe, Microsoft, AWS, and other giants. But today, I'm going to talk less about dragon fruit, but more about how you should think about enterprise video implementation and intelligence. Every one of you might have like thousands of cameras, CCTV cameras out there, but I mean, how to think about using this kind of infrastructure, not just for security, but other use cases like operational use cases or compliance management and other kind of use cases that can be used, that can be delivered using the same infrastructure that you all have. Now, this is the reality of the enterprise video today. Video is abundant. I mean, you have thousands and hours of video collected every day, but I mean, it is underutilized. Most of the incidents are discovered late. Operational teams generally have like sampled video collection that they do over a course of time, and then they decide, oh, I should have probably put my merchandising in this order instead of that. Or my marketing is performing, you get the marketing performance probably a month later, but you could get a lot of these kind of signals instantly and then utilize that. And most of right now the video is used for storage, but not really for insight and action that you can do. So as leaders of the industry, you should think about video artificial intelligence in two different modes. First is real time. So you want to do multiple things from this video that gets generated in real time. And this can be detection of risk. So for example, there is an intrusion detection that you want to capture instantly. The second kind of use case in real time might be process deviations. So people are not wearing PPE kits or hard hats and these kind of compliance related stuff that you want to figure out instantly. Then trigger an intervention. So for example, there is emergency door which is blocked and you want to quickly clear that out. So you want to intervene there or reduce the escalation. So for example, there is a spill somewhere. You want to quickly clean that so that someone doesn't slip and fall around that. So there is tons of use cases around real time for the same video. Now the second aspect to think about is optimization and investigation around operational workflows. So you want to keep data so that you can search through quickly, right? And there are a lot of compliances. So in the US, we have OSHA compliance for manufacturing units, warehouses, and other industries which require continuous compliance management. So the same video can become your evidence locker to keep a bunch of these compliance-related evidences. You can even use this for retailers who are out there to figure out what's the queue length on my checkout counters. Can we have more? Can we divide our personnel into a better management to manage our physical spaces? And overall, like how to improve the operations. So these are some of the examples that I took that we already take care of in Dragonfruit. So for example, missed PPE detection, trespasser is there, shoplifting, like these are the real-time intervention that you would like to do. Now on the right-hand side that you see, on the left-hand side from my side, what you see here is the flow pattern of traffic in, let's say, a mall. And then you can figure out like where exactly you see more traffic, where exactly you should focus your personnel to be present there. And then you have the whole workflows around case management and compliance management. Now what Dragonfruit is we are a real-time detection engine. So we detect a lot, and we have a model factory, and we work with enterprises to come up with relevant operational measurements that they want to do in their workflow. So we detect all of these things in real-time fashion using video AI, and then you can use that in different use cases. So we support the real-time rule engine, and we also support the operational workflows that you want to create on top of the same video evidences. Now, these are some of the patterns that I wanted to show. Like one of the key problems that people see, people figure out that, oh, can my videos be processed on-prem? yes, it can be processed on-prem, and with a small box of, let's say, Mac Mini that we use can support 40 cameras in real time processing all kinds of model. So bandwidth is always a constraint for everyone. Like, oh, how can I actually process tons and tons of video in the cloud? You don't have to push videos to the cloud. You can do everything on-prem, and in the cloud, you just have all the insights, the real-time reporting that you want to do. So Dragonfruit uses Mac Mini. So Apple, we are partners with Apple, so Apple supports us in our deployments. And it is remotely configured, easily configured, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, another important aspects as leaders that you think about is, oh, what about privacy? You are using my videos. How to think about privacy then? So just for everyone's context, you really don't need videos for a lot of these kind of, you really don't need to store videos to keep your operations workflow active for this. You can just use metadata coming in from the videos that gets processed on-premise, and you can then delete the video altogether. Because we are GDPR compliant, all of these kind of things really, really matter. Because generally speaking, you don't want to keep facial recognition data and all of these kind of things. So we use what we call a proprietary technology on Split AI, so that we just push embeddings up to the cloud. Now I'll talk about some of the common patterns that we solve for a lot of our enterprise customers. First is a pattern around risk and security. Perimeter breaches, restricted zone accesses, suspicious behaviors like shoplifting, people coming with masks, let's say 10 people in a gang coming inside your store. Like these kind of suspicious behavior, we call it pre-crime detection. So a lot of pre-crime detection can be done using the models that are out there. So we work with largest of the jewelry chains in the US and other enterprises to do that, and the real-time escalations around that. The second pattern that I wanted to talk about was operational excellence. We work with warehouses to figure out the throughput, how many actual bottles are being shifted from one place to the other, and all of like operational efficiency of employees. You can do all of that. Flow monitoring, like truck turnaround time is a big ask for a lot of our customers. Like when the truck comes in and goes out, what is the average mean time and all of these kind of things. SOP adherence is a big one where the standard operating procedures are being followed or not by employees. Queue service level performance, bottleneck detections, like flow of traffic in your store, in your sites, all of these can be done using the same video platform that you already have, like the CCTV cameras. The third pattern is audits and compliance. So as you can see, this goes from real time to now operational, the post facto things that you want to do. Safety violations like forklift speeding, like that's a big one. Smoke and fire detection. So you can think about tons and tons of stuff for your use cases, and all of this can be done using the same video infrastructure which is there. The fourth one is investigation and evidence. Now, you have collected a lot of this data. How to use it in your workflows, right? So you would have a SOC team. You would have you would like to share this with, let's say, security personnel. So all of that management is already there in Dragonfruit. So the evidence are automatically collected. One of the other key things is people don't realize their camera infrastructure is so critical. So we have continuous monitoring of this camera so that as soon as the camera goes down, you are alerted immediately and can rectify stuff. Now, as leaders, you should think about these 5 steps whenever you're thinking about implementing a video AI platform. First, you should define an objective. Then we'll help you with SITREK's help in Sri Lanka to figure out what are the video signals that we can get to identify this risk. Then we have a factory model of factories. So out-of-the-box models are there which can be used to solve for that. Or we can fine-tune and work with you guys to create a new model for that operational problem. The fourth part is really, really important. Like, until this is not integrated into your workflow, you'll not be able to measure the KPI. So Dragonfruit is a platform, so you can create your own workflows, or we can help create those, customize your workflows and integrate into your systems so that it is used day on day for operational excellence. Now, we are a US-based tech company. We work with largest of the technology partners. Apple is our partner as well, AWS, and all of them. But we work with integrators for local nuances. Like in Sri Lanka, we work with SITREK because, I mean, there are a lot of local nuances that we need to deal with. So we are partners with a lot of integrators. And they help us on the consulting side of things to understand the problems so that we can come up with the relevant video artificial intelligence workflows for them. We work with largest of the enterprises, Walmarts, Starbucks. In India, we work with Reliance, Hindalco, and Rubrik, like corporates to all kinds of chains. So to reiterate, you should first figure out 1 or 2 high-impact use cases. You can do 2 months to 3 months of proof of value with us. We'll define clear success metrics with the help of the local partners, and then we scale across the platform. Thank you so much. I am here. I'll be around, so please let me know if you have any questions for me.
Thank you, Mr. Shivang Agarwal, for your session today. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite you to pay attention to the screen as we have not 1 but 2 corporate videos put together by Eagle Eye and Brevo.
You need video surveillance to protect your business, but having cameras just in case there's an incident is like having a smartphone just for making phone calls. Your cameras can do way more. So why not get more out of them? With Eagle Eye Network's cloud video management system, you can add next-gen AI features to your existing cameras. Now, your very same cameras can monitor safety conditions, spot intruders, unlock doors, use license plates as parking passes, provide customer insights, and so much more. Looking for someone with a white shirt and a red backpack? Just type it in and see all the footage that matches on any of your cameras, even if you have multiple locations. Want to automatically admit cars with recognized plates? No problem. You can even get alerted if a hot listed vehicle shows up on premises. It's that easy and smart. Save time, save money, save your peace of mind. Eagle Eye Networks means getting more out of your cameras. Because smart video surveillance is so much more than cameras.
speaker brings extensive regional expertise in AI-driven security and access control solutions. Kiran Sona is head of sales for South Asia at Brivo, where he has spent the past decade driving growth across the region. Having initially led the company's AI vertical, he now oversees a complete product portfolio for South Asia. With prior experience at Amazon and Uncanny Vision, Kiran combines global technology exposure with deep regional market insight. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Kiran Sona on stage.
Esteemed and distinguished members before me, it is a pleasure to be presenting Eagle Eye Networks in Brivo to you all. My name is Kiran Sonar. I head sales for South Asia region for Eagle Eye Networks and Brivo. Before I begin introducing Eagle Eye Networks in Brivo to you all, I'd like to spend a couple of minutes talking about electronics and physical security industry today. Right? We're in over the last 2 decades, electronic security industry has undergone some significant changes for the good, right? On the protocol front, we've seen these systems evolve from analog to IP. On the hardware front, we've seen them move from server to embedded systems. On the software front, we've seen them going all the way from independent software providers to independent software systems equipped with AI, with deep learning AI and with generative AI models as well, right? And on the management system front, we see video management system, we see physical access control management, we see visitor management system, we also see alarm management system and ICCC and so forth, right? Lot of modules within the security division itself. And all of these systems have served their purpose to the organizations to a point, right, to an extent. And I use the phrase to an extent because the organizations have not fully harnessed all of these systems to their fullest extent. And what I mean by that is in a unified way, right? And if an organization rather does unify these systems, it is infrastructure heavy, it is also maintenance bound, and the technology upgrade stops point in time of the purchase itself, right? And so for the organizations of today that are distributed in nature, which have multiple locations across the city, across the state, across the the country, or across multiple countries, where the compliance landscape is ever evolving and change is expected, and you are expected to be more flexible. With the organizations that believe in keeping up with the innovation itself, right, and with the AI coming up, with the LLMs coming up, and so forth, and having to retrofit it with the existing systems. And in addition to that, the unification itself, which by itself is a big problem, right? And today's the limitation, the constraint that we see with all of these systems getting unified is not really with has got anything to do with the product as advancements or the innovation in the product field, but rather it is in the business model innovation itself, right? That the OEMs and the integrators fail to cater to the organizations today. Yeah, and what I mean by that business model innovation is today the physical security and the electronic security is a very much of a commodity market, right? The organizations purchase it as a commodity, and it is not driven as a managed services. And some of the factors that hold organizations back when you purchase it as a commodity, right from having to begin with, having to dedicate a real estate, to have all of your mini data center itself set up, which also includes your bulky servers, your HVAC, your dedicated lease lines, so on and so forth on the infrastructure side. And you're also looking at IT staffing and the maintenance and management of these systems itself. Right? And the uptime availability of these systems itself. You have downtime, you have unscheduled downtime, so on and so forth, right? And the security patches that are left unattended until next year's AMC. And the same is the case with the upgrades as well. And these upgrades are more firmware driven and are not feature driven, right? And there's the possibility of theft, there's the possibility of fire, so on and so forth, and that leaves a wide legal and liability to the organization, right? And all of this because the asset ownership is with the organization. And what I want to also expand upon today is that organizations only later realize that they have invested their initial investment into owning these security assets have been only 30-40% of the total cost of ownership of managing and running these systems, right? And that's where Brevo and Eagle Networks comes into picture. We are a cloud native unified physical security solutions provider. It could be a video management system, it could be a physical access control systems, it could be a visitor management system, and your integrated command control center, all unified in one single security platform. And our delivery method or delivery model is a managed services model, wherein you do not have to invest in the infrastructure. You don't have to build your data centers, mini data centers and so forth. It is all managed by us. We have over 14 data centers across the globe today, all managed by us. And we manage your data as well. And when I say we manage your data in terms of storage, in terms of converting the data into insights, into information, into multiple logical fronts as well, and the privacy of the data. We are extremely cyber secure. We are compliant to multiple SOC 2 type 2 compliant. We are ISO 27001. We are point-to-point encrypted and end-to-end encrypted as well, right? And we today have presence in about 95 plus countries, where we have rolled out our systems to multiple enterprises, right? And some of the credentials we carry on the physical access control front is we already have 20 million active users today on our platform. We manage more than 600,000 entries across the globe today, right? In fact, we were the first one to introduce this category in the world. We launched Brevo back in 2001, and since then we have been doing cloud-based physical access control, right? Right from the era of internet, if I may say. And some of the advantages, why managed services, right? You're looking at self-hosted cloud, so you don't have to think of any IT investments itself, right? All of it is our headache. The uptime is our headache. The updates and upgrades is our headache. What we are trying to be is, what Gmail is for email services, we are the same for security systems, right? And we are purpose built. All that we do is solely and purely just meant for security systems, right? And we are an open platform. You can integrate your physical access control systems with your HRMS. You can integrate your video management systems with any other third-party systems if you could. It could be a point of sale. It could be any other third-party systems as well, right? And native AI. Since this is a platform, right? Again, we are like Netflix. At the end of the day, Netflix will add more movies to the platform to keep you hooked onto the platform, right? And we are very similar. We'll make sure we'll bring more AI features into it. Today we already have LLMs, right? You're one question away trying to solve your use case itself. We are cyber secure. We have a global partner ecosystem today that is spread across, and we strive to be open on the hardware and software front, which is essentially, we will make sure to integrate, retrofit into your existing cameras, into your existing readers itself, and we work with already some of the major platforms that are out there, right? At a high level, this is what it looks like. You could have your existing cameras, or you can think of your readers. It connects to our gateway, and then all of it gets communicated with our data center. And then anyone can access it, right? The authorized users can access it on their phone, on their laptop, on their systems. Again, no need of building integrated command control center that is infrastructure heavy, right? 24/7 support. We are agnostic in terms of camera, readers. You can access it from anywhere, alerts and automation, all part of it. We are one single pane of glass. We don't use any proprietary camera, so we will not lock you into our system, right? We are again an open platform. So in the interest of time, let me skip some of these slides. I'd be happy to demo you our system. We have a booth right outside, and I'd be happy to give you a glimpse of our system itself end to end, right? And I'd like to touch upon what we have, the agentic model here, right? When I say you're one question away in solving one of your use case, what I primarily mean is, right, you don't have to train your AI models now because it's all agentic, right? You can say, when you see a mattress at the dumpster, alert me, right? And the agentic model has the intelligence to alert you when there is a mattress at the dumpster, right? And same when trash is thrown outside a dumpster. These are some random examples that we've already solved, but the possibilities are limitless here, right? So is an electric bike in the wrong place? If yes, alert me. If someone is carrying electric cable itself outside the charging area but without a vehicle, it could be a pilferage, it could be someone trying to steal, right? So anyone loitering beyond 5 minutes, so on and so forth, right? So it could be related to your business operations, your safety, liability, reduced crime, right? All of it can be addressed using our systems. We work with some of the largest enterprises today, with being one of the largest cloud native systems. So scale, robustness, everything is taken care of, right? And these are some of our credentials. Thank you for your time and attention. I'll be outside if there are any questions or if you'd like to see a demo. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kiran. Cyber resilience today is no longer just about protecting one organization. It's about protecting the entire ecosystem. Our next speaker leads cyber threat intelligence and detection solutions at ST Engineering, focusing on helping SMEs and interconnected businesses defend themselves against increasingly sophisticated supply chain threats. His work includes deep and dark web intelligence operations and developing scientific frameworks to evaluate cybersecurity effectiveness. He is passionate about making advanced cyber defense accessible, scalable, and practical, especially for organizations with limited resources. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Jackie Lim. He will be presenting on elevating supply chain resilience, scalable defense for modern businesses.
Good afternoon, everyone. Distinguished guests, colleagues, and friends. Really thanks for the warm welcome. And it's truly an honor for me to be here today. In fact, this is my first time in Sri Lanka. So before I actually arrived, I've been practicing this. Ayubowan. Did I pronounce it correctly? I hope so. Do I sound like a native Sri Lankan now? Not yet. Okay. So a quick introduction about myself, like what was introduced. I actually wear two hats. One as a cyber threat intelligence specialist. The other one as a business owner that actually offers cybersecurity services for businesses like yourself. So for the first part of my sharing, I'll wear the cyber threat intelligence specialist hat, where I'll share some of the threat trends that we are seeing, hopefully give you some background and context as to what we are facing as individual businesses. So let's dive right in. For ST Engineering, for the past decade, we have been securing all the big different sectors, from large enterprises to key agencies in critical information infrastructure, all the way to the national level, to the likes of, your banking and finance, your transport sector, air, land, sea, even your utility, things like water and energy. But what's worrying now is we are seeing a trend that threat actors are no longer targeting just the big players, because they realize they find it difficult to actually hit them. Reason being, they are well-resourced, they have the SOC that's needed, they have all the investment in terms of security tools, and so on and so forth. That's where they start targeting the soft belly of the ecosystem, the SME themselves. So these are just some of the key examples that I'm putting it up. So for this case, a bank, DBS, a bank in Singapore, was actually affected because one of their printing company got compromised. So what happened is their customer statement, which they actually sent over to the printing company to print, was actually stolen, and all this were actually uploaded to the deep and dark web. Similarly, another incident just last year, Income Insurance, an insurance company, were actually being, their printing company again is being hit by a ransomware, and information about their policy holders' annual bonus are being made available. Are you interested to know what your boss got in terms of their annual bonus? So these are the things that are very real. In fact, personally, I just last year during Christmas, we managed a 1 month long operation because one of our customers, their supplier, got hit by ransomware. After quick investigation, we realized it is they are being hit by a ransomware called Crypto24. So what happened is this this customer of ours actually have a close partner. They have a project they work closely with. They share information, things like their technical drawings, their email correspondence, some of the confidential documents and all that. And this information was actually being stolen, encrypted, and then brought back up to the threat actors. So the threat actor actually adopt a double extortion tactics. So give you some context, how do they do that? First, they encrypt your environment. The first extortion is, if you want me to decrypt your environment, pay me a sum of money. Next is, I have your data. If you want those data, pay me money again. So there's no end to it. So what happened is, while this is happening at the downstream businesses, the impact is felt upstream. Why? Because those data belongs to our customer, and they have to analyze. So with this information, what are some of the risks that we are being exposed to? What can we do? So this actually resulted in a month-long worth of vigilance monitoring. There's threat hunting being done. There's incident response being done. All this actually costs our customer.
255 Singapore organizations linked to critical information infrastructure are said to have been compromised, according to documents leaked onto the dark web. Google's cybersecurity arm claims there are clear signs that a state-backed group was involved. It could be the tip of the iceberg of what experts say is a growing trend of hackers targeting SMEs.
So on top of what I've just said, this news actually made headlines last week. We are seeing not just actual experiencing it, it is also known across Singapore at the national level. But that said, this seems like whatever I'm sharing seems only related or localized to Singapore. That said, the trend is global. For the likes of the SolarWinds incident in 2020, 18,000 of our customers actually were affected. This includes government agencies as well as Fortune 500 companies. Beyond that, in 2021, managed service provider were also being targeted. They were hit by another a ransomware. Hundreds of their MSSP customers were being affected. And more recently in 2023, whoever who used MoveIt before, the file transfer software was actually being compromised. So whatever you store using that file transfer software are being stolen by the threat actors. All this point to one thing. Supply chain risk is no longer theoretical. It is something that's happening globally. But let's put some numbers to it. How bad is the situation in terms of the cyber health of our SMEs or the businesses that we are looking? 80% of SME businesses actually faces breach annually. And out of these 80%, 99% of these organizations actually suffer a business impact. And this impact includes things like business disruption, legal implication, reputational damage, as well as financial loss and recovery costs. But if you look at all this number, 91, 64, 58, it doesn't quite add up to 100%. Why? This is because most organizations experience repeated cyber incidences. And if you overlay that statistic that you saw just now over how big is the SME sector within the Sri Lanka enterprise market and how much they are contributing, it is quite scary. Make a guess, out of that million SME, okay, I gave the answer, 99% of the enterprises are SMEs. And they are actually contributing to 57%, 45% of the employment in Sri Lanka. And most importantly, contributing to more than 50% of the GDP annually. But we all know how critical this problem is. We know the situation in the SME sector. We know how big the SME sector is. We need to know, to really address the problem, we need to know what are some of the challenges they face. First thing, there's limited cybersecurity awareness. They may or may not have the capacity or knowledge to be able to comprehend the kind of risk the businesses is facing. And we talk, whenever we talk about low cybersecurity, often than not to businesses, it is of low priority, or they feel that there's really no ROI in that sense, because it is a cost center. And comes to budget, often than not, they feel that cybersecurity is expensive, is not something that is within their budget. But we are here to really see how we can actually debunk all this or solve all these challenges. That's why we launched ITER. ITER is a suite of cybersecurity offering tailored for the SME. It ranges from training in terms of phishing exercise all the way to managed detection response, and in the event something happened, remote incident response. But and how we actually come about with all this offering is with the clear understanding of how threat actors work. This is a typical attack life cycle of a threat actor, from reconnaissance all the way to delivery, and then command and control and act of objective. Sounds complex, that's why we actually make it simpler into 3 phases: pre-compromise, compromise, and post-compromise. At the pre-compromise phase, we provide our stakeholder with training, phishing exercise to raise awareness, and also to reduce the attack surface of our customer through attack surface management. And in the compromise phase, we looked at monitoring their endpoint, making sure that their endpoints are saved and secure. And lastly, when something really happened, remote incident support. Just a call, just a push of a button, we'll be there to support you, as well as CISO as a service. But today, now I want to focus more on managed detection and response, one of the core offering of ITER. Okay, the unique thing about how we do managed detection and response is we actually undertake it in 3 phases. First, when we onboard our customer, we do endpoint threat scanning, like a hygiene check, like a health check, when you buy insurance and so forth. So what we do, we scan, we make sure that we identify all the risks that you would have, and then we mitigate them together. Uninstall certain things, remove certain things, and so on and so forth. And then when you're clean, that's where we transit to the continuous monitoring part, where we actually provide 24/7 monitoring, provide incident support, and monthly we'll provide a summary report. And lastly, we move on to the response and preparation, i.e. to say, before an incident even happened, we actually prepare for it so that our customer know when something happened, for example, when it's a malware, who do you call, who do you actually speak to and report to, and so on and so forth. Or if it's a ransomware, what must you do? Unplug the system or whatnot, and so on. Okay? So at the end of the day, with ITER, we aim to allow our customer to be business focused, making sure that the solution or the offering is hassle-free. They don't have to worry about, I need to build a team, I need to, build the back-end infrastructure, and so on and so forth. And more importantly, it has to be cost-effective. For example, our customer may not have to say, in the trajectory, in a vision, we would have maybe 100 endpoints moving forward in the next year. But they don't have to buy 100 endpoints for a start. They can start off with whatever they have and then scale accordingly. Unlike if you were to buy, whatever solution, you have to, size it accordingly, and so on and so forth. Of course, with ITER, this is just an offering. We have, and that's why we have to collaborate with our partners like SITREK to promote this through within Sri Lanka to elevate the entire supply chain resiliencies. And on that note, to commemorate this partnership that we have, we are providing a complimentary cyber threat scanning service. This is also to reward for you guys for staying up all the way to the very last. Okay, so feel free to scan the QR code. So the whole point of this cyber threat scanning is you'll be able to identify hidden threats, strengthen your endpoint security, and gain instant visibility to your endpoints. So by scanning this QR code, you will be able to arrive at a form, just register your interest, and we'll respond to you accordingly. Okay, so the three-step process: when you sign the QR code, you fill up the form, we'll receive the registration. Next, we'll provide you with an onboarding package and an installer and a guide. You can proceed with the installer. And lastly, once you get it installed, we do our analysis. We'll provide you with a health report. And what does this health report contain? We'll help you to give you visibility in terms of your assets that you have. What's the host name, what's the IP address, what's the operating system in your environment. Through this scanning, you would identify, I realize I have some of the assets in outdated operating system, and so on and so forth. Next, we provide you with the ability of visibility in terms of your application installed on each endpoint. So for the likes of privileged application or even malicious application. Maybe just to share, a lot of time when we do this scanning, we realize, or the organization realize, their employees are actually using cracked software, which is highly risky because that's where malware actually comes in. Next, we do threat detection. So if there's any viruses, malware, we'll facilitate the cleanup as well. And lastly, we will do the recommendation in the report so that you can improve in terms of a cyber hygiene. With that, this is the QR code. This is the complimentary threat scanning. Limited time, limited slot, so fastest fingers first. With that, thank you. I'll be happy to address any questions that you might have.
Our first question is, will there be data that is transferred overseas when using either?
Yes. The short answer is yes. But that said, if you have requirement, i.e. to say, because of data sovereignty, all data have to be in within Sri Lanka, we have an offering that actually allow us to set up a instance to be based in Sri Lanka so that data stays within Sri Lanka. So it solves data sovereign, or it meets the data sovereignty requirement.
As credential compromise becomes a dominant attack vector, how should organizations integrate monitoring of new credential leaks into their security monitoring?
Yeah, that's a good question. In fact, if you recall, as part of ITER's offering, we have the attack surface management module. This serves two things. One, to look at brand protection. I to say, anything that's leaked in the dark web, all this will be notified as a report for you to, do the necessary response. So that's one. On the other hand, as part of attack surface, it also looks at, for example, your website, your mail server, and all the digital assets. It help you identify all the vulnerabilities or that may be present, or the misconfiguration that would have been made on the system, so that you can be aware and be able to do the follow-up updates or patch or configuration. So as part of ITER, those is also covered as well.
How does asset discovery work? Is it a must or a solution? Linear chain scanning.
Okay, so for now, because it's a complementary threat scanning, what we do is we provide the agent to quickly, do the scan, acquire all those information. It is still agent-based. If there's a there's specific requirement in terms of not using agent, you want to do authenticated scans and so on, that is also something that we can do, but not part of ITER offering.
Can we get a threat intelligence feed service for existing SOC environments?
Oh, this is a separate question, not related to ITER. I'm wearing back my threat intelligence specialist hat. Yes, we do provide threat intelligence feed. Whoever asks this question, please drop by and find me. I'll be more than happy to deep dive in the separate offering that we have.
Do we have any questions to be asked physically from the audience?
So maybe if I might add a little bit about the threat intelligence part. So all this, because over the years we have been securing so many, and we are still securing all this critical infrastructure, information infrastructure and so on. That's where we actually gather all our threat intelligence, and we'll be able to support various sectors in the ecosystem in terms of threat intelligence requirement. Any questions on the ground?
We are experiencing here in Sri Lanka, specifically in SME, is the traditional fear of using AI solutions that their secrets may be disclosed. How do you convince SME?
Okay. This is more on the AI part of things. Let me think. Experiencing. Okay, I may not want to give the wrong answer, but my colleagues would be in a better position to address this question. Maybe later you can come by our booth to address, to speak to Dr. Ivan, and he'll be able to support your question.
How organizations effectively assess and manage cyber risk across complex supply chains that involve multiple third-party vendors?
Okay, so this was a question that was asked yesterday as well in terms of managing supply chain risks and all that. You have many suppliers. There's a few ways. More proactive way is to have a conversation with your third-party supplier and see how you can create something, a program for them to upkeep their cybersecurity resiliency. So that's one. Really more from a supplier perspective, have certain code of conduct, have certain terms and conditions to make sure that they comply. If they are providing you with has certain cybersecurity clauses so that they can comply with in managing cyber incidents with you. So that's one. On the other hand, we also advocate things like getting them to go through compliance, provide you with a risk report, and so on and so forth. That is also another avenue to identify whether you have a risky supply in that sense. Okay? If not, thanks for your time. If you have any further questions or you want to know more about what we can do, feel free to approach us at the booth. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jack Lim.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, just to give you a bit of a wrap-up of what has been happening today, we launched Sidekick as well, which is a purpose-built software designed to assist security teams with better coordination, visibility, and operational support, enhancing effectiveness without replacing the human element. So in line with SITREK's commitment to long-term partnerships, this software is being offered free of charge to our customers, reinforcing our belief that security excellence should be accessible, practical, and reliable. So for more information, the team of SITREK is also here, so please make sure that you get in touch with them for your relevant places of work, where you might find areas of interest to make this collaboration as well. Find all the information that you need, because free of charge is some words that Sri Lankans really like to hear. So make the best use of that opportunity as well, ladies and gentlemen. And on that note, just before we head out, you have been brilliantly listening today, because it has been a long lineup of speakers, and we appreciate your participation. And can we have a huge round of applause to all our speakers who have joined us from ST Engineering, especially with the current status of what's happening around the world. They've taken that risk to be here in Sri Lanka, so that is something that we truly appreciate. On behalf of everyone, we thank you for joining us here today. And moving forward, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you took at least one point of interest as you carry, or as you leave this room or these walls, because sometimes we're also having a chat here and there as well. Not everyone is well versed in the spectrum of AI cybersecurity. So as people, if you are actively in this space, make sure that you spread the word of what you know. Protect people that you know. Scams are happening even right now as we speak. So I'm sure even you would know people who get scammed on a regular basis as well. So these are topics that need to be spoken about. Forums like this have to be held so that we ensure the continuity of the work that we have started. So which is why forums like this, SITREK has organized Cyber and Tech Summit for the second consecutive year. So we're hoping this will be a continued flow of events as well, because this is a way forward. AI is a giant that we cannot fight. Instead, we have to work around it and see how we can work towards it and work with it. So I hope all of you have learned something, especially from our speakers as well, and you carry it through and carry it forward. And I hope you change someone's life with what you learned today. So we invite you to please network outside. We have a brilliant lineup of booths you may have seen as well. Please get in touch with our team from ST Engineering as well. They would love to have a chat with you and make the best use of these connections. These connections are not just for today, right? These connections will work in the long run as well. So make the best use of these opportunities that come right to your very fingertips. So ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude for today, we have refreshments served for you as well at the back of the hall. But while you enjoy your refreshments, also use this opportunity to network with the team of SITREK, network with the team of ST Engineering, because they are right here. They've come into Sri Lanka just to be here. So that is something that we truly appreciate once again. So thank you to the team for flying here into Sri Lanka, and we hope that you visit us again, not for a summit, but with your families, with your friends, and visit Sri Lanka, because we have so much to offer, and we would of course warmly welcome you again. Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to wrap up. Can we have a huge round of applause for a brilliant summit, Cyber and Tech Summit for the year 2026, a brilliant partnership between SITREK and ST Engineering. Have a lovely day.